them. We're going to go from New Orleans right now onto Highway 90 and try to go on the West Bank because we understand that the West Bank might be a little bit clearer. And we'd like to welcome everybody online on YouTube, Facebook, and our website at WWL-TV.com. There will be moments that we might just go silent for a little bit as we try to get our bearings and figure out ways to get around. We'll try to narrate as much as possible, but for the sake of avoiding droning on too much, there will be periods that I won't speak. I apologize for that. Maybe that's a good thing. But it is a sunny day here post Hurricane Ida. You probably have heard some of the press conference from the mayor of New Orleans addressing some of the issues. It's going to be a very long recovery, weeks, at least 6 weeks from what we understand in terms of the power being restored fully in the city of New Orleans. But understand that this is going to be a regional recovery as well. Jefferson Parish, Lafourche, Terrebonne parishes, St. Tammany, pretty much every area in southeast Louisiana has been affected severely by Hurricane Ida. And from what I understand from our web gurus, there were some complaints about people not being able to hear me yesterday, and I apologize for that, but as you can understand, we were trying to navigate our way and trying to understand where things were in terms of getting an assessment of the power of the storm. So you'll have to forgive us on many fronts there. We'll do our best to speak up and to be clear on this, but we thank you for joining us. We hope that everyone where they are right now, if you have power, if you can listen to us, we hope that your spirits are where they need to be. The first day after Hurricane Ida moved its way across this region. If you can look to the left of us right now, that is the Caesars Superdome. This is looking, it's a nice sign, I have to say, just seeing that the dome is somewhat intact. That was a far different story from 16 years ago, but as many of us were looking forward to football season, we're now dealing with a recovery after a major hurricane moving again through southeast Louisiana and affecting the city of New Orleans. Again, our mission today is to get down to Houma, that region southwest of New Orleans, which we would likely consider ground zero for Hurricane Ida. So far on I-10, as we're heading on 90 here, getting up to the Crescent City connection. It's been smooth sailing so far, but from what we understand too, we've been getting reports. The West Bank did take a big punch, as it did not during Hurricane Katrina, but for this one, it was a major wind event. We understand there's a lot of roof damage on the West Bank, and many people are trying to kind of get connected to their families and understand what the situation is there. That is, for many people at this point, is to get a grasp of damage. So we also want to advise you too, hello, this is Tom Trung here, and Jeff Hackett is in the front seat. We also want to give you a heads up that because of this interruption with AT&T see some of the pictures that you might be seeing, the quality of it might be poor because as we kind of through areas that may have connectivity with AT&T, which is the service that we're running off of at this point, the picture might be a little bit dicey, so please bear with us as we're going through this. As you can imagine, some of the infrastructure that was affected by the storm is going to be at this point. But I'm Tom Young here. Jeff Hack is sitting in front of me here, navigating in the Mobile Forecast Center. This is day 2 of our coverage of Hurricane Ida, but day 1 of the aftermath of Hurricane Ida. And we are currently traveling. I'm going to switch cameras here. So, and again, just as yesterday, please forgive me as I shuttle in between cameras here because I'm operating this, and sometimes I'm not the best camera operator. Things are not normal right now, so I think you'll have to excuse a lot of things. But that is our POV, the driver point of view camera here. We are on Highway 90 right now on the West Bank Expressway. As you can see, so far so good. Clear movement here on the West Bank Expressway. There is another capability here that we will show you in a minute. We have a camera that does swivel. It is able to move. And this is just another point of view here from the West Bank Expressway as we're heading down to Houma today on Highway 90 westbound. Again, we are traveling fairly fast, so it may be difficult for you to kind of see some of the areas off of the West Bank Expressway. But there have been reports of just some flooding too on the West Bank as well, and from what I understand and from several reports from people and viewers, there's a tremendous amount of roof damages in neighborhoods, Harvey, Algiers, both Orleans and JP, as we're dealing with this. And we're going to swivel onto the other side here to kind of see the other side of the West Bank Expressway as we're rolling here. As is usually the case after a storm, it's on the backside of the storm as it moves through. It is a very clear day. It is hot, and this is one of the elements that we're dealing with right now in the metro area and the greater southeast Louisiana region, is that with so many people, with tens of thousands of people right now, perhaps even more, without electricity for several weeks, the conditions here in terms of the heat, the humidity will be quite miserable. And for anybody that's lived here long enough, you understand what I'm saying. And for all of those people that have requested us to go to certain neighborhoods, we certainly have heard you. We understand that everybody has a yearning and truly at this point a need to know what their neighborhoods look like. We totally get it. We understand as well. We also have a job to do at certain points to kind of give people a different perspective, to give a broader view of the region too. Obviously, many people had evacuated and were under mandatory evacuations in Terrebonne, Lafourche, St. Charles Parish, those areas. And we also have to keep in mind the need to show those regions as well. So we are only one unit, and we will try to get to as many neighborhoods and as many parishes as possible. We spent most of the time yesterday on the South Shore, certainly in Orleans and in Jefferson Parish, but as you can probably guess with what we were dealing with in terms of the hurricane force winds and the conditions there, that kept our mobility pretty limited to where we were yesterday. One day after the storm now, it looks at this point, the West Bank Expressway is wide open. There's not much debris here, but as we are making our way, I'd imagine as we pull off heading further west and then south, we're going to see some worsening conditions, especially for the road in terms of the debris.
I'll give you the thumbs up. You're good.
And if you're just joining us here on YouTube, Facebook, WWL-TV.com, any other streaming platform here, this is Tan Trung with WWL-TV, and also Jeff Hackett, again, of WWL-TV. Same as yesterday, we are on a different assignment, though. We are heading on Highway 90 west, trying to get down to Houma. We thought this was going to be the best route, but we do anticipate there's going to be some debris along the way at some point that we may have to divert. But so far, coming off the West Bank Expressway, coming from New Orleans across the Crescent City connection, and then down off the elevated expressway now, onto Highway 90. It seems pretty clear at this point, but for many people who understand, negotiating these four-way stops after a storm can be very treacherous and dangerous. For many locals, we understand that that could be rough on a good day with traffic lights, but when these go out, this can get pretty dicey, and it's something that first responders and parish officials always warn about, is the day after and the days after a disaster, when infrastructure and the many elements of life that we are used to are missing, that we overlook those, and then accidents and bad outcomes often happen because we're not paying attention. But let me just swing the camera to the right here. And there's some signs of damage here along Highway 90. And pretty soon, coming up here, you can kind of see some of the light and the utility poles bent over here. And coming up on your right after this Waffle House, you see some poles collapsed onto the fences. This will probably be par for the course for what we see on the way down here. Even though the metro area in Orleans and Jefferson parishes did see a significant amount of wind damage, we are anticipating this is going to be much more severe down here. And as people are moving about, they also have to gas up as well. So this is what many people, if you are wondering what conditions are like and life is like after a storm, there's going to be a long line for everything, because there's very few things available at this point after a storm. Gas being one of them. And an update from at least the mayor of New Orleans, I believe she said it was going to be at least 6 weeks. 6 weeks that electricity will be fully restored to the city of New Orleans, but that is an estimate at this point, and we are only less than 24 hours after Hurricane Ida made landfall. We are in the Mobile Forecast Center from WWL-TV. This is the vehicle that we used to ride out the storm yesterday. We were in multiple parts of Orleans and Jefferson Parish. We're happy to say and happy to report that the water that we encountered on I-10 as we headed eastbound from Metairie into Orleans, there was a section of the interstate that was flooded and stranded a car there last night. We're happy to report that it was clear today as we drove through there, so it appeared that the water had drained. But as you can see on both sides of us right now on the road here, there's a pretty smooth sailing. Yeah, I can hear. And for people that are joining us on YouTube, and yes, we are here. No. So anybody that's listening to us right now, we're trying to talk to the control room right now. They're trying to get our microphone, so you'll be hearing some behind-the-scenes chatter and as we try to establish communication with the station back in the French Quarter. We apologize for that, so bear with us. This is part of making television. Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you on IFB. Yes, I can hear you, yes.
Nope, we can't do that. Are you?
Hello?
We're on 1921.
We are on 1921. Hold on. I can hear you. Can you hear us? Okay, guys, and for those that are still watching and still with us on YouTube, Facebook, and other streaming platforms, we apologize for kind of the back chatter as we are feeding multiple platforms here digitally and also on television. But we understand that many of you right now, if you have power and are able to get a signal with internet, you are mainly on digital at this point because there is very little power within the metro area. And if you're evacuated, you are likely just relying on digital platforms to get local coverage after Hurricane Ida. That being said, we are also trying to deliver some information on broadcast as well. So when you hear us discussing and talking, and it seems like we're talking to somebody else, that is us actually talking to the folks back in our control room in the French Quarter of the station. So we apologize for the confusion there. But this is Tom Trung with Jeff Hackett, both at WWL-TV. We are in the Mobile Forecast Center. And this is one of the features that we can use here is a camera that can swivel from side to side. It's actually a 360 camera that we can use to kind of give you kind of the peripheral view that we see here as we are traveling on the road. Our assignment today is to get to Houma to get another set of eyes on the impact of Hurricane Ida in that region of southeast Louisiana. And obviously, if you know, many people who live here, Houma is southwest of us here. And so far, there hasn't been much debris on 90 as we kind of are using that route to get us down there. You will see a good amount of downed trees and perhaps some utility poles and electricity poles too on the way as we go. And I'm going to pan to the right here just to kind of get a different view of some of the areas right off of the road here as we head down towards Houma.